Solskjaer wants an Ajax star, Wijnaldum rejects rumours, Barcelona fans actually agree with their manager, we've got a transfer roundup and today's power rankings all coming up in the next few minutes as I'm your host Matt Fodek. You are the One Footballers and this is the Daily News. So first off, and to Manchester United manager Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, who has apparently identified one of the players that his team desperately need this window. Of course, we all know that amongst other positions, the number 10 role really is key for Manchester United, and it could be filled by Donny van der Beek. Now, surprisingly, he did actually leave Ajax last summer. There was, of course, that exodus after they did so well in the Champions League, including Frenkie de Jong and Matthijs de Ligt, amongst others, leaving the club. For those two, things haven't turned out so well. De Ligt is struggling at Juve, and although de Jong has been pretty good for Barcelona, it's been a poor season for them overall, and he's still finding his feet. With Donny van der Beek, though, there is nothing of the sort. He's continued his brilliant form and has actually got 12 goals and 5 assists in all competitions this season. So much so that all the rumours of him leaving are still back on the table. Now, of course, when you come across someone so talented who can play in a multitude of positions, so many clubs would be in for him. But I think especially at Manchester United, he would fit so well. Can you imagine like a defensive midfield of McTominay, Paul Pogba a little bit further forward, then Donny van der Beek completing the triangle? It'd be unbelievable. If you add on to that the lightning quick front three of James, Martial and Rashford, Manchester United fans, what do you think about that? Now, of course, there have also been rumours about Hakim Ziyech leaving Ajax, potentially to Manchester United as well. But I think with him being maybe just a bigger name on the continent, Solskjaer could almost get this Van der Beek deal done under the radar. I say under the radar, he's still going to cost more than 50 million, and it is one of the biggest clubs in the world, so of course, there's going to be lots of news about it. But I mean, it won't be a bigger deal as if they sign Grealish or Maddison. Those are the two playmakers that have also been linked with United, and the fact that they're English means they'll probably cost a ridiculous amount of money. But moving from Manchester United to Liverpool, their biggest rivals, and that is where we have our next piece of transfer news coming from Gini Wijnaldum in the midfield. A few days ago, there are reports that Wijnaldum would be leaving Liverpool in the summer. That's because his contract runs out at the end of next season, and as we see these days, no club really wants to let a player dictate when they leave the club. They basically don't want to find out that he's going to stay with them and then leave on a free. This, though, has been completely and utterly rubbish by Wijnaldum, and for pretty good reason. He's at the best club in the world at the moment. He's playing in one of the best teams under the best managers, and according to him, there's talks over a new contract in the pipeline, and he's just focused on Liverpool winning the title. This is the perfect example of how you do it when your contract is running into its last 18 months. You're honest, you say you want to stay with the team, and you show it on the pitch. Not like a few other players. Christian Eriksen. Anyway, moving on, Wijnaldum will be staying at Liverpool, and that's surely a good news for Liverpool fans. If, though, this is the one thing I did want to mention, if he did leave, Liverpool are still in a pretty good position. Obviously, Wijnaldum is starting, but that's due to injuries. Maybe a midfield three of Fabinho, Keita and Henderson is actually the strongest, and Wijnaldum want to get in? Liverpool fans, let me know your thoughts. So up next, and we come to last night's incredible game between Real Madrid and Valencia, where, as I mentioned in the title, unbelievably, Barca fans actually agreed with their manager, although he was talking about something completely different to the actual match. First off, Barca or Atletico Madrid, who play in tonight's other semi-final, will be facing Real Madrid, meaning we're guaranteed an El Clasico or a Madrid derby on Sunday in the final of the Spanish Super Cup, which is being held in Saudi Arabia. Now, all the talk was about Kroos scoring from a corner, an unbelievable goal, by the way, and Real Madrid winning 3-1, but there was also massive talk about the amount of tickets sold. Now, Ernesto Valverde basically just came out and said, like we're all thinking, that the cup was over there for the money. Of course it was. There was less than 9% from each team sold, their allocation of tickets, that is. So how on earth could they be making any money by letting all the Saudi Arabian fans come into the stadium? They're obviously not that interested, and it's just about the money makers at the top who want to bring a prestigious competition and, more importantly, prestigious players to that part of the world. Anyway, that's probably the one and only time this season that Barca fans will be behind their manager, who somehow still has a job. So next up, we come to a quick roundup of the rest of the day's transfer news, where Pepe Reina, the former Liverpool legend, could be joining Aston Villa on a free transfer. Arsenal said Emil Smith-Rowe is available to go on loan for the rest of the season. Spurs have joined the race for AC Milan striker Krzysztof Piątek. And lastly but not least, Chelsea are interested in West Ham defender Issa Diop, but it may cost them around £40 million. So here we are at the One Football Power Rankings. This is when we take loads of the top players from around Europe and assimilate them in some sort of order. This is based on their domestic and the Champions League or Europa League form. So of course the cups do not count. The Spanish Super Cup, the Italian Super Cup, the League Cup, all of that stuff, we're not really taking that into account. But without further ado, let's get into numbers 10 till 6. Of course, before we start, I will mention that if some of the players are still in there but their leagues haven't returned, well, their form's just been so good that no other players have managed to overtake them. But more on that in a little bit. So in at number 10 is Timo Werner. Jadon Sancho, his fellow Bundesliga player, at number 9. Luis Suarez at number 8. Dimitri Payet rocking in at 7. And Marco Reus sits out just side the top 5 in number 6. So into number 5, and first off, it's Romelu Lukaku. If you take the last 5 games, which stretched back to before Christmas, before the Italian winter break, well, he was in good form. So when they came back into 2020, he continued this unbelievable form. 2 strikes against Lazio as he fired Inter to the top of the table. He actually isn't the highest Serie A goal scorer in this list, but I really don't think he's going to care at the moment about these power rankings. Moving into number 4 though, and is someone who actually you have to see him to believe him when he plays. Wolves haven't been in the greatest form recently. In the last 5 Premier League games, they've got 3 losses under their belt, which isn't fantastic, although they do have a 3-2 victory over Manchester City as well. But Adama Traore has been on fire. When he's on his game, there is no fullback in the world that can handle him. Pretty much because he's just faster than everybody else. The guy is an absolute beast, and he's been so good that lots of top clubs around Europe are looking to sign the former Barcelona youngster. Of course, if he continues to impress the Wolves, it'll be very hard for them to hang on to him any longer than the end of the season. Into number 3 now, and Kylian Mbappe's in there. I know what you're thinking. The French league hasn't come back from the winter break. But I'm going to tell you, in his last 5 games in the Champions League and Liga, he has been ridiculous. There's 7 goals and 3 assists in there as he continues to form a brilliant partnership up front at PSG with Neymar, who we'll get onto in a little bit. So speaking of Neymar, he's a contender for one of our top 2 positions. Now I know loads of you are going to say, oh, I hate Neymar, he dives and this and that, and don't get me wrong, the last 2 years have been pretty poor for him, but over the last few weeks, he started to do his talking on the pitch. His last 5 games have seen 5 goals, 6 assists, 3 man of the match awards, and it would all be going so well if the Champions League knockout rounds weren't coming up very soon. Cue the injury. So fighting with Neymar for top spot, a current place which Neymar holds, is Cristiano Ronaldo. It's been a while since we've seen him at the top of the power rankings because, well, his form's been good. It's not been amazing, but loads of other players have just been much, much better. Cristiano Ronaldo, though, was not having any of it. After being left out of the team of the year, he came back and he bagged a hat-trick, an unbelievable hat-trick at that, meaning he has scored in all of Juventus' last 5 League and Champions League games, and a total of 8 goals and 1 assist. He's taking himself very, very near to the top, so let's see who has won. So between Neymar and Cristiano, the winner this week is still Neymar. He's still at the top of the list with this incredible form. Of course, you guys know when all the leagues are back in action, there'll be so much more changes coming in the power rankings, which you can see every single Thursday. So that's all from me for today. Make sure you let me know your thoughts down in the comment section on the power rankings and all the rest of today's daily news. Watch today, you can smash the like button and click here or here to check out all of the other videos we've got going on OneFootball. But until next time, I will see you guys later.